Okay, lower, lower, lower.
I will.
No, no, it was too
What did he do?
He just stopped. I didn't.
All right, here's what's happening. Got a female polar bear with 2 cubs moving very quickly across the sides. We want to get to these bears before they get to that water over there. It's very, very treacherous.
Slide right over. Okay.
Okay, we got her though. We'll just pull back here away from her and see what happens.
We got one.
We're outside of Kaktovik, Alaska, 300 miles north of the Arctic Circle. We've just safely darted the polar bear mother in order to affix a radio collar to her as part of an important conservation study.
We're going to run right out on the ice and snow. I'm running right behind Jeff with the camera. This is what we're here to do, and this is what I've been waiting for, and I am excited.
The cubs are secured for their own safety. The blood on the cubs is not their own. It's from a recent ringed seal kill.
Okay.
In order to calm the cubs and examine their condition, they're given a sedative that will only last for about 30 minutes. We will need to move quickly.
Our cubs are now fastly asleep.
We take such huge steps to make sure the animals are safe we work with. That's why we're connecting with such important scientists like Steve and his colleagues. And it's actually comforting to us that once the polar bears are sleeping, they're anesthetized, you can actually hear the cubs snoring.
Now, what's the importance of these measurements?
What we do is we're keeping track of these measurements so that we can look at patterns over time and in relationship to the changes in the sea ice. Following years in which there was less sea ice available offshore, those measurements have been slightly smaller.
So as this environment changes, as the ice shrinks, you can almost see a correlation between the size of the polar bear.
That's correct. In this part of the world, we've seen the sea ice decline by nearly 10% per decade in the summertime.
So these animals are literally being pushed out of their productive hunting grounds because of a lack of ice.
Yeah. You want to lift him up and read the number, all right? So he is going to be 26 kilograms.
All right. So 26 kilograms, and that's a good weight.
That's a big cub. Yeah, that's a big cub for this time of year. These cubs are clearly doing well.
Even though these cubs look healthy, others aren't so lucky. It is estimated that the polar bear population is likely to decline 30% in the next 50 years.
So now we're going to go ahead and tattoo this cub.
Using a green dye, the cubs are numbered so that Steve can track their progress as they grow to adulthood. And by using temporary paints, a number is painted on the back of each cub. That way, they won't be recaptured. Now we move on to Mama Bear.
First of all, she's got an exquisite, remarkable sense of smell. She can actually smell the presence of a seal through 4 feet thickness of ice. And she can wait there patiently with perfect camouflage. This fur is incredibly dense, so it makes excellent insulation, but it also perfectly blends in with her white habitat with the snowy and icy surroundings.
Mother was massive, you know, her body was massive, but what I really noticed was her head. Her head was so huge.
If I open her mouth like this, we're able to see the tools that she uses. Those massive canines right there. And you could just imagine her lumbering, almost invisible, stealth-like, over a little hole in the ice, waiting for that seal to come up and take a breath.
The one thing that I saw about the polar bear was the size of the claws. They were about as big as your face and very scary.
Now these animals evolved from grizzly bears, and grizzly bear claws, as you know, are longer and shallower in curve, so they're designed for digging. Polar bears, being purely meat eaters, purely predators, what they want is a claw that will really hook their prey and keep it from getting back into the water. So
Next, Steve takes a sample of the mother's milk.
You want to put your finger there, Jeff, and get a taste of polar bear milk?
It's very viscous.
Yeah.
It's very rich. What's the fat percentage?
It's around 50% body fat. Everything about the life of the polar bear is based on the capture of these fat-rich marine mammals, and that's what really allows them to survive in this environment. That's why the changes in the sea ice are really important, because polar bears can only effectively catch those marine mammals from the surface of the ice. The ice that we're standing on right here is the platform that they need to catch their prey. And without that, they're going to have a much more difficult time.
So if she's not able to get the protein and the fat for her own survival and for her own milk production, the next generation pays the price.
You might get that bear nursing there. That'd be a good picture for you to
Polar bears, along with all the other animals that live up here in the Arctic, they depend upon ice for survival. But what I find incredibly terrifying is as this ice disappears, so does the ecosystem that these creatures depend upon for survival.
Now that we've gathered all this incredibly important data, it's time to attach the radio collar to this sow bear.
And so what this collar is going to do, it's going to allow us to track the movements of this polar bear over the next 2 years, and we can find out where she's going, what type of sea ice she's using, and what she does in the summer when the sea ice melts in this part of the world. The polar bears were jumping all over us, you know, they were like, you know, you're looking into the eyes of this animal that, you know, when it grows up, it's going to be some massive killing machine, but yet it wants to lick your face and see what you're all about, you know? I mean, it was awesome. I can't tell you how amazing this is to actually photograph polar bears, not only just one, but a mother and her cubs. It's an incredible, incredible experience.
Polar bears will probably exist in the wild to the end of my life. But I have a child and another child on the way. And what will the world be like when she's in her 40s or 50s? Will this place be gone? There are some theories and predictions out there that say this is within about 4 or 5 decades away from being almost completely melted away.